腹、腹減った。肉。
鹿肉のシチューは鍋でコトコト3時間。程よい柔らかさになる。
肉。
鹿肉。Look out! Round eyes are stealing our stuff again. Hello and welcome to Putting It Bluntly. I'll be looking at Netflix's live-action skin-suit cosplay series, One Piece. I call it this because its regular name is not detached enough to reflect just how distant this horror is from the source material. You know, passers-by might get the wrong idea and think they're going to get something that resembles One Piece in anything other than acts of creative appropriation. Yeah, I know, why do some people squeal about cultural appropriation over hairstyles and silly things like that, but nobody bats an eyelid at this? Why is this entire world generated from a Japanese intellectual property? Why is it all English? Like, some of the characters are very, very English, I don't just mean English speaking. With all the modern outrage mongers, I often wonder why dubs are even allowed nowadays. I mean, I agree with it, you know, if translating foreign dialogue into your own tongue and claiming this is what they actually mean isn't cultural appropriation, I don't know what is. And here's me thinking Crunchyroll are a cheeky set of bastards for siphoning YouTube ad revenue from the One Piece anime, giving away all the spoilers and big scenes for free. So, here I am, a fan of One Piece with some serious regrets from 2009 when another old friend of mine was skinned and worn like something from Buffalo Bill's wardrobe. I'm talking, of course, about Dragon Ball Evolution. The trailers for this One Piece show almost made Dragon Ball Evolution look better in comparison, which even the writer of that bloody mess apologised years after, he even admitted it was a massive cash grab. And by the end of this first episode of One Piece, they'd managed to cherry pick around the same number of things to focus on, but they get to milk 8-hour-long episodes. So, you know, instead of 85 minutes for Dragon Ball Evolution, which means the live-action One Piece will be able to tick a lot more boxes regarding iconic and nostalgic scenes. I know, that was 20th Century Fox, and this is Netflix, things will be oh no wait, Netflix made a mess of Cowboy Bebop and Death Note, and they still think they've got this one nailed down. Right. Ichi the Killer, in 2001, that worked, because he was pretty much just about a guy that got hard on for murder, there weren't many special effects needed, nothing overblown. Shonen and similar genres are often chosen to be presented in manga and anime format because of how ungrounded and how unrealistic they are. That's sort of the point, it's normally because there's no other option. Which just begs the question, who is this for? The anime, the movies, the spin-offs, these are all meant to promote the manga, not scare people away. So is this to try and help manga sales somehow? Oh, no, I guess not. Is it to help the anime series? Oh, no. Or is it just the buffet table of creative impotence? A place where lazy writers and professional pretenders get a leg up in the name of a beloved IP? That sounds about right. Nostalgia addicts will consume this by the big giant plastic spoonful too, but it's still unnecessary even for them. If you really don't just want to restart the manga or the anime and appreciate everything from the beginning, there's hundreds of clips on YouTube with all the high spots back to back. Go for it. Surely all that's enough to get the memories flowing. Before I get into my comments on the first episode, I'd like to look at what the trailer and the manufactured hype suggested. When the teaser trailer first came out, all it did was bait you, as it's meant to do, with just loads of little shots of as many things as possible to get you hooked. It didn't exactly look the greatest thing on earth though. Very Dragon Ball Evolution-y. For me, concerns about the quality didn't actually dissipate when the full trailer came out. Zoro's sword fighting's okay, Luffy's punches, and Sanji's kicks look very wireworky. They had a lot of quote-unquote banter with the Straw Hats in the trailer as well, which, yeah, Zoro and Sanji, they get into that big time, and there are teething issues with Luffy, Zoro and Nami, but not in the same way as depicted. Buggy the Clown was in the trailer too. He looks like he started off in a Marilyn Manson music video and ended up on the Insane Clown Posse's Little Yellow Bus. Bloody hell. If Netflix struggle to convert a man in clown makeup from manga/anime into live action, the hell are they going to do with Frankie, Jinbei, Gaiman, Dr. Hogback, Gecko Moria, the Mink, and most of the Zone and Smile users? Well, don't answer that. We've already seen what they've done to Arlon and some of the other fishmen. And lastly on this, as I've said before with Marvel and DC stuff, when they reuse, remake, recycle all of these different properties, getting the original characters and stories and worlds over, that's not their main intention. Their main intention is to get their actors over, evidenced by tweets like this, where this group of professional pretenders have just had a viewing party of their own work, and now are being told by Netflix to protect this kid. No! Protect IPs from talentless writers and narcissistic cosplayers. This is a great example of what motivates these artistic skin suits to be made. Once things get going, Luffy's going to be doing so many ridiculous things with his body that's made of rubber. Most of it's going to be CGI anyway. This kid will be barely filmed in his regular form. It should be quite easy for them to just stick his silly little face on whatever computer-generated graphics they create. Look, this is Luffy. And this is... not this. Nor this. And not even this. But it's fun to pretend, isn't it? We just don't need to get the whole world to go along on the ride with us. One of the first questions I asked whilst watching this is, where's the fucking colour? It's so dull. The anime and obviously the coloured manga issues are so bright and interesting. This is just dreary. When will we know the mood's supposed to change when we get to Thriller Bark if it already looks that bleak? Well, I'm not going to nitpick every last little difference that there was in it, but it's just some key differences that just change how we see a character or their relationship with each other. Luffy and Zoro's introductions to the camera, they were different.
お前悪いやつなんだってな。
てめえまだいたのか。
こんなとこで晒し者になって。お前本当に強いのか？
余計なお世話だ。
はぁ。
Rika appeared briefly in the bar and gave Zoro food then, not out in the yard while he was still tied up.
おい、このガキ投げ捨てろ。
はっ、すまん、嬢ちゃん。体を丸めて。
So we saw Zoro eating the food in a different way rather than asking Luffy to pick it up off the floor.
それ、取ってくんねえか。
食うのかよこれ。もうほとんど泥の塊だぞ。
黙って食わせろ。
あ。だから言ったろ。
うまかった。ごちそうさま。
Also, there were changes in Luffy and Shanks' interactions in the past. Luffy eating the devil fruit was different. Just, again, something else that was rushed. Garp and Bogard were both introduced in this episode. Garp's face was revealed, like, minutes into it. They don't normally come into the show until 68 episodes in, or 92 chapters if you're reading the manga. Yep, there they are straight away. Can't wait to get to them. Even back from the trailers, we saw people getting overexcited and pointing out all the little details and Easter eggs that were in there. But once it comes to the bits they've missed out or things they've just skipped or changed altogether, silence. So it seems that this is made for, by, and with people with very short attention spans who really just want to be part of a conversation or part of something. I mean, the actress who plays Nami's a bonny lass, and I'm sure she'll keep some butts in seats. You know, seeing as in the anime and the manga, she's just considered as eye candy for a lot of people nowadays, sadly. But the actor-stroke character that stood out for me, and there were still issues, was Kobe. Kobe sort of got the essence of the character more than any of the others, I felt. But he was about a foot too tall, and they had him saying and doing things he didn't do in the manga and anime, and then missing out things that he actually did. So it's not perfect.
あれから2年、殺さない代わりに雑用係として働けと。
お前ドジでバカだな。
そんな身も蓋も。
なんだその上根性なしか。俺お前嫌いだな。
None of the music really stood out and powered anything up. There was a bit of Bink's Brew in the bar briefly, but the rest sounded just pick and mix from Pirates of the Caribbean soundtracks. Seeing that it had been classified as a 15 was surprising. They advertised self-harm, violence and language, which the self-harm's obviously Nami trying to remove a tattoo from her arm with a knife, not necessarily removing her arm from a shoulder. This was encouraging because they aren't going to babyfy it and make it for children, but then it also leaves the door open for them to add extra violence, sex, language, or whatever else they want to put in there that wasn't originally in it. You could maybe see them before I actually noticed, but it took a while for me to see what the fuck were on Luffy's feet. They weren't flip-flops or sandals. Now, I suppose the actor could have an issue with doesn't like his feet being shown, but God knows. I'm hoping he doesn't have issues, because we didn't see that big grin Luffy normally wears. Zoro actually had a bigger grin on his face when he was tied up at one point. No grins, no chuckles, not really much Luffy. Also, I have no idea why the Dendenmushi's ringing sound sounded like Kaido laughing. So, all in all, if you were to describe to somebody over the phone what was happening on the screen, yeah, they'd be able to figure out you were talking about One Piece. But it's just so distant from what it should be. It doesn't feel like it's in the same world, or even a similar world, really. The tone's all wrong, the humour's all wrong. Well, there's some attempt of humour, but I didn't chuckle even once, let alone laugh. And it just seems very masturbatory and self-congratulatory. With so much of the original source material available, you could spend some good time really telling a decent deep story, but no, they're just going to rush through the notable points, the high spots, what people remember, and what the actors and creators personally saw and thought, ooh, I could do that better, or ooh, I wish I was in that spot, I'd look really cool stood there with a sword, or the big straw hat. It stank of people going through the motions, putting on a tribute act of some sort. It was just off the mark. If you don't believe me, go back to watch those first few episodes of the anime. As soon as that intro song kicks in, the whole show has a completely different vibe than this thing. It's also very likely that I'm going to hear a little bit of noise from all the fanboys and fangirls of the actors and actresses in the show, and when you get a group of people that look like they belong in a pop group, you often get a rabid fan base. According to what I've already seen online, this is the case, and it's also a good way to stick it to the fans of other anime series. That seems to be the motive for a lot of people's blind praise. So, I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to try, and I mean try, to get through the other 7 episodes and put something together to follow this up. And in the meantime, if you are one of the few people that hasn't seen the show or read the manga before, and you did sort of enjoy what you were watching, but you could have done with some more depth, I highly recommend reading the manga or just watching the anime. The manga's great, but the anime does have some brilliant music, voice actors are fantastic, and you will laugh, cry, cheer, hurl, and everything in between. And that's enough out of me for the time being. If you've enjoyed this video, please feel free to like, share and subscribe. You can find more about me on www.dannydamage.co.uk. You can follow me on Twitter /X @bluntdamage. And if you really enjoyed yourself today and you really want to show me some support, you can buy me a coffee on Ko-fi /DannyDamage. Thanks for watching, take care, and I'll see you next time.